Hello again. That's going to be the session 3.2 from your textbook, and hopefully we can finish this today. What we're going to be working with is how editing images using the picture toolbar, and also we can use the picture properties to resize and do other things as needed, as we've seen before. So the things we're going to be doing first is we're going to add more images. Some of those images gonna be changed in many different ways. First, we're gonna add a picture from a design of safety, and the picture we're gonna insert is hardscape.jpg. We're gonna give it an alternate text. It's on page 18, item number 4. We're gonna give it an alternate text called photo of building with hardscape design. Click OK. And I'm going to save it, then view it in the browser and show you what's the problem. What is the problem? That's a huge picture, as you can tell. And a lot of times when you take a digital picture from your camera and when you put it on your web page, you're going to have the similar results. So we have to resize the picture, not just resize it, we also have to resample it. Resampling means changing the file size as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to double click, go to the picture properties, go to appearance. I want to make sure the aspect ratio is checked, and then change the width of the file from 3070 to 500, and click OK. So the picture is resized, but the picture size file is still the same. It's still 3 megabytes. I will repeat, this is important. The picture has been resized, but has not been resampled. Resampling the picture is also reduce the file size to the dimension of the picture, and that's what we're going to be doing. But we'll do that a little later. Let's just go ahead and complete the assignment. So I'm going to add an appearance border 6, an horizontal margin 10, and then click OK. Save. I want to also work with the picture toolbar. To activate your picture toolbar, I can right click on the picture and show picture toolbar, then tools, toolbars, then pictures for the toolbars. So to resample, we can right click resample right here, or we can click on resample right here. But since many of us like to do right click, so I'm going to keep the right click and resample. When I save it, the program recognizes you did something to the image. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to keep the same name of the image and replace the existing file, or want to give it a new name? I'm going to give it a new name in case I want to use the original file for something else. So I'm going to give it image name escape new, but keep .jpg. Click enter to accept and OK to apply. The other things I want to add to the property of this picture is align it to the left. So I'm going to go back to appearance and make an alignment left and click OK. Now we hit Ctrl S to save, go back to the browser and see what we've done. Refresh. Now that looks much better. Don't you agree? Okay, let's go back to, let me resize this so we can actually see better things as we move along. I'm going to minimize, go back to my expression web, and start working on the next subject. On page 122, it explains what you see on your picture toolbar. From the left to right, here it's like you put your mouse on it, you have a screen tip. It's telling you what the purpose of this button. So here to insert an image, just like this one here, it's exactly the same function. Here is to auto thumb nail the image. I will show you a better way of doing that. Here to stack the image, bring them forward or send them backward. Those features do not work in many browsers unless you add layers. Something the book does not talk about, but if you are, I might be able to work with you on that regard. Here to flip the image or rotate it. I'm sorry. But again, you're going to save that image as such. So you want to make sure you do not apply 1, 2, 3 unless you're very sure. Here, rotate it to the left 90 degree, rotate it to the right 90 degree. Do an mirror image horizontally, and here do an mirror image vertically. Here to add contrast or reduce the contrast, to add brightness or reduce brightness. Here, actually, to cut off some part of the image. Here to add a mask, which is set to transparency color. Add bevel border. Resample, we already did. And here is to select the picture or the image. We will talk about this as we go along. So we make sure to save, and we're going to go forward. Many times you want to add contrast to your picture, which a lot of times I do, since if my picture that I've taken from the digital camera is not as clear as I wanted to, or is not as bright as I wanted to. So I really use these features right here. Preferably use a different program because you'll have more options to actually enhance that image better. But here I can add contrast to the image, and you can see it's a little bit brighter, or I can go backward. I can make it bright. I can make it less bright, but make sure you do not do this. Restore the image. Control S to save. Click OK. On page 125, there's talking about a washout or removing some colors from your picture. This is not in Expression Web 4, but it was in Expression Web 3. And seriously, this feature, it could be done better in another software if you are interested to do this. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to add a bevel border to this, and sometimes give you some nice feature of that bevel, but you do not have a way to resize the thickness of the bevel. Then a lot of times I use it for a nice effect, but I also can use other things like cropping the image. I'm going to go ahead and crop the image and make it a little bit more landscape. If you want to have access content you don't want, you can go ahead and remove it. Like if you have people in the picture, you don't want them to be in the picture, you can crop them out. By default, you get this particular rectangle. If you don't like that rectangle, you can actually draw your own. So I'm going to draw my rectangle right here, or I can resize it. Now be careful, if you crop and accept the crop just like this, and you set save, you're going to replace your existing image. Please don't do that until you are very sure. I'm not gonna crop this image. I'm gonna keep it the same. So I'm gonna restore it. Control S to save. Click OK. Another way to resize the image, something I don't advise you to do, but if you want, you can. And the reason why is the following. You have size handles here. You have on the right side, on the corner, and on the bottom side. They allow you to resize it many different ways. If you click the corner and you start resizing, you can see your aspect ratio of the picture is gone. That's why I don't like to use this feature. One way to keep that aspect ratio is good, keep the shift key down, click under the corner, and you can resize. You can keep the aspect ratio. And here you can resize it to 370 or 350 if you want. If you can read the numbers in the middle of the picture, tell me what's the proportion I'm resizing it to. So if you are interested, you can actually do this. Then you can go right click, resample, as we did before. But I'm gonna keep it on the original image. So I'm gonna restore. Control S to save, click OK. Another nice thing you can do with Expression Web that is not really available for with a Dreamweaver is you can actually change the margin on each side of the border. It doesn't have to do it for all sides like we did with the properties. So in the properties, let me explain that again. When I will go to appearance and add the margin, whether for horizontal or vertical, you actually add them for the either side of the picture. But if you don't want to do this, you only want to do the right side, then you have like access lines are coming out. So I can click on this line right here and only resize this particular side of the image. I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom and resize it a little bit more. So I only added margin to the right side of the picture and the left side of the picture. Now we are not using the picture properties for this. We're actually adding a style, cascading style to add this effect to that picture. So I like it the way it is. I like that margin. I'm going to Control S to save. Another nice thing that you can actually do that's not available to Dreamweaver, but this front page always offered it, is adding a thumbnail. What is a thumbnail? A thumbnail is you can call it like an icon, but it's not exactly an icon. But it's a smaller image of an existing image that when you click on it, that image appears by itself in the browser. So I'm gonna do something different than a textbook because I like my method better than the textbook. I'm gonna look for that hardscape. Remember that hardscape was about 3 MB. I'm gonna right click on it. Again, I'm gonna right click on it, drag, not left click, right click, and I'm gonna drop it somewhere, let's say here. Here is gonna give me options. This, I'm gonna select the auto thumbnail option. Then here I can give it the alternate text. I'm gonna just name it auto thumbnail. Because I'm gonna delete it later. And again, I can align it the way I want to. Do you see this border? This is why I want to always add 0 borders to the picture so that blue border would not show. Because now we just generated a link. So I'm going to double click on this image. Go appearance. Border is 0. I'm going to right align it. Then click OK. I'm going to save it for now. When I save it, it's going to give me that same image name, but underscore small. It generates a new picture for me. But now I want to make sure it's saving where. Now, a lot of you will do the same mistake in your assignment. You want to make sure it's saved in the same tutorial folder. So I'm going to change folder, go to the data files, go to tutorial folder, then go to my images and save it and click OK to save it in that folder right here. Then I'm going to click OK to accept. So go ahead and refresh my browser. And as you can see, it's right there. I can click on it and that image will show up. Again, you can use this feature in advanced mode if you're interested once you learn a little bit more about how you manipulate the code or the program. So I'm going to go back to the Expression Web. I'm on page 133, which is asking me to add an horizontal line image. Is it different than a horizontal line tag? Is an horizontal line image? An image has to be created by another program. Even your Microsoft Word, you can create an image, use the snipping tool to create the particular line. Then we have to do is just insert it. And we're going to insert that image right here. So at the end of the design, Fair Expo, hit enter. Then I'm going to add the rule PNG into that paragraph. So because it's an image that is not that important in ways, it's only for look, I'm not going to add alternate text. I'm going to click OK, but I'm going to center it. Control S to save. How about if I want to use image for bullets? So this is, I'm on page 135. So I'm just going to scroll up to where I see the bullets. I'm going to select the entire bullet right here by selecting the UL tag. Then I'm going to go Format, Bullets and Numbering. Then I'm going to select Picture Bullets, Specify Picture, Browse, go to your data files, go to Tutorial folder, go to Images, and select the PNG, bullet PNG right here. Then click Open, then click OK, and we have this. Control S to save. So let's look at the browser, see what we've done so far, and we have those picture bullets right here as well. As I stated before, I can add a picture background, and that picture background it tiles up. So if we're gonna use a tiling up picture or a texture, so it doesn't make sense if your picture is too big. So I'm gonna show you. So I'm gonna right click, Page Properties, go to Formatting, and I'm gonna select Background Picture, Browse, and select this back.png. And you see how that's small. Is this a very tiny picture? But again, this picture is gonna repeat horizontally and vertically, and see it what we have. And that's what we have. Control S to save. You can add your name at the bottom of the page. So I'm gonna center this, hit enter. Then I'm gonna put my name, shift enter, then tutorial 3. We're done with this chapter.